Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessica from Jessica's Craft Time, and I thought we'd do a bit of a whip and chat today. I'm working on my dream catcher from Shoalhaven Diamond Dots class, and yeah, I've done a little bit more since our whip and chat. I did some of these bigger ones. I was sitting out here on a what's it called, Zoom call, so I thought I'd do a little bit more, but yeah, today we're just going to be working on this one while we have a little bit of a chat. Things are okay at the moment, the whole way the world is. New South Wales isn't in lockdown as such, but they are recommending that we don't do any non-essential travel. So yeah, we've basically been staying at home lately, not doing a lot, going for walks. We had a couple of days of pretty heavy rain. So with a 4-year-old boy, we spent the afternoons finding puddles and jumping in puddles. And I live in an area, we have a creek at the back of our house. So we're in a pretty hilly area, so it's always pretty easy to find puddles around and things to jump in, and for monster trucks to jump in. And yeah, he's very much a boy's boy, loves his monster trucks and his construction trucks and all that kind of thing. So yeah, haven't been doing much. He's at preschool 3 days a week, which is really nice. I get a little bit of time to myself to do my crafts and my videos. Yeah, so that's sort of what's been happening at the moment. Nothing much else. We've been pretty much just staying at home and not going very many places, going for a little bit of a drive around the local area, and just spending time with the family. So yeah, that's about all I've been up to, other than doing my crafts. This will go up before the last video, but I finished my miniature room, and oh, I'm absolutely in love with it. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. It's just sitting on the bookshelf at the moment, but I'm blown away that I managed to create it. So I'm about to start doing my next room, which I'm looking forward to doing. So yeah, that will be coming up soon. Yeah, a lot of online shopping and waiting for the postman to deliver things. I did, which the unboxing will go up after this, but I did receive my very first Diamond Art Club, which I'm super excited to start on, and I'll actually be starting on that this afternoon. Hopefully, we'll see how things go. I've got a few bits and pieces to be doing around the house before I can sit and diamond paint, because as we know, if you're like me, you sit down at night after the children are in bed, and my hubby's a big Xbox player. He loves gaming, so he gets on the Xbox and I sit there and diamond paint, and I look up and it's midnight and I'm like, oh, I need to go to bed. So yeah, once I sit down to it, that's sort of it. I've got to have all my jobs done for the day. So this is a little bit of a play before I do some more jobs around the house. Nothing too exciting. Got to do some washing, which we don't have a dryer, so it's kind of taking a couple of days for things to dry. So hopefully when I go back in, they'll be dry and I can fold some washing and put another load on. So nothing really exciting, but I thought we'd keep going with our questions today. Oops, I dropped that one. Come here, come here. Okay, so also the pen I'm using, this is just something I've played with myself. I'll let the camera focus on. So nothing exciting, it's just one that I've played with and made up myself. I do enjoy playing with the polymer clay. I haven't done a lot of polymer clay playing. It's all very new to me, but I make them up for people that I know and send them out. I've also got a friend that sells a few diamond painting kits, just a few, and she sends them out with her kits. So yeah, that's my pen. This isn't my favorite one. My favorite one I've left inside, but I do, in my Diamond Art Club, I've ordered one of those pens, so we'll see how that goes when it comes in. I've also ordered the everlasting tips that a lot of the YouTubers around have been raving about, so I'm looking forward to getting them. But with the whole postage delay at the moment, who knows when they'll actually show up. So let's get on with a couple of questions. What do you do to commute to and from work? Well, that's an easy one. I get out of bed in the morning. I'm a stay-at-home mum, so my work never turns off. You're always a mum, doesn't matter what time of the day or night, so I don't really commute. In the past, most of my jobs that I've done, I've worked in retail, and the last job I had before I went on maternity leave, I used to have to either be dropped off or walk to the train station, and it was a 45-minute to hour-long commute depending what train I got into the city, and the same on the way home. Now, my last job I worked at, I did have work before COVID hit, and the store shut due to leasing, and I have since had trouble finding a job. But that was just up at my local shopping centre, so I used to sometimes I'd walk to the station and catch a train. It was only one train station across, or I would drive. And I parked a little bit away from work just so I could do a little bit of walking, give me some exercise before I got to work. But luckily, other than the long train commute, everything else that I've worked at has either been under about a 10-minute, 15-minute drive to work. So I've always driven to work. Do I have a favorite type of exercise? No. I'm not a big exercise person. Never have been. My siblings always sort of got into it a bit, but I never did. I don't mind going for a walk. I'm not a runner. My biggest exercise I do is housework. Yay, housework. So yeah, that's sort of my biggest exercise I do. I'm more of the crafty one. I get lots of hand and wrist exercise doing diamond painting, but I also do enjoy sewing as well, which I haven't done much of lately. That's on my to-do list for tomorrow. I've got some sewing that needs to be done. My sewing's always easier to be done without my son at home, because it's very hard to sew with him on my lap, or he likes to get under the table and press the pedal for the machine for me. So yeah, that's a job for tomorrow. I've got a couple of little projects I need to do for people, and I really should get started on my Christmas sewing. So I do like to give handmade gifts. I've got a few kids and stuff that I give to that are all around the same age. So I like to we don't really exchange gifts, but I like to give them something handmade each year. What did they get last year? Last year they got aprons. I made them all little aprons and gave them like a little, what was it, cookie cutter set, I think, to go with the apron. I need that one back. And the year before they got reading cushions, which was kind of cute. It's a cushion that has a pouch in the front that you can put your book you want to read that night in. So yeah. What's my favorite season and why? I'd probably have to say spring. I don't do well in the heat. I don't like it when it's overly hot. I like it when you've got a little bit of warmth to the air. So I like spring when you're coming out of winter And it's been a bit, dark and gloomy and rainy and cold. I don't feel it so much now that I'm living in New South Wales. I mean, we were out the other day and it was like 18 degrees and the sun was shining and it was a beautiful day. But you don't get many of them in Melbourne, in Victoria, when it's winter. Winter's like, oh, you get to 12 degrees and it's a good day. So, yeah, I'd say spring, when everything starts to warm up, your house has been locked up because you've had cold days, you've had the heater running, and then spring comes along and you start opening the house up and you can start putting washing out on the clothesline again. And, the birds are out chirping and it's nice warm weather without being too hot. What is a phone app I use most? Would have to be between Facebook and YouTube, I'd say. Would be the two apps that I use. YouTube, I listen to a lot of YouTube, especially when I'm diamond painting, because I find it's easy to listen and you don't necessarily have to be watching the screen, so you don't have to be constantly looking up. I've got a couple of TV shows I want to watch at the moment, but I'm finding them too hard to watch while I'm diamond painting because I need to be actually watching the screen, which is what a TV show's about. Some you can watch. I like my Australian drama. So I did watch the first 7 seasons of Blue Heelers. That was on Amazon Prime, I want to say. It's very disappointed they only had the first 7. Seems there's 14 seasons. But I was able to watch that because I've watched them all before. I was able to watch that while I was diamond painting. I didn't have to, constantly look at the screen. So pop down in the comments, what's your favourite TV shows? I need something to watch. I'm watching The Good Doctor at the moment. In between, when I'm doing things that don't take too much concentration and I can pay a little bit more attention to. I'm not one that sits and just watches TV. I always have to be doing something. So generally it's some form of craft. But I'm not very good at just sitting and watching. I get too fidgety. It has to be something really, really good that I enjoy to just sit and not actually do anything other than watch the TV. Would I rather cook or order in? That's a tough question. I do enjoy my cooking. I do enjoy making food. I enjoy sitting down and serving the family and, we made this. And hubby and I, from very early on in our relationship, when we first moved in, I decided that it wasn't going to be my job in the kitchen to cook dinner. I didn't think it was fair that we were both working. We were both working full time, and that I would have to come home and cook while he sat and did nothing. So we cooked together. Over the years, we have very defined roles in the kitchen. He does most of the cooking on the stove, where I do most of the prep and the washing up. But we do it together. We're always in the kitchen together. I enjoy our time in the kitchen. I find it's the main time that we have discussions about things and we're not distracted by daily life. But yes, I decided very early on that I wasn't going to just be the sole chef of the family. So yeah, we both cook together. So I do enjoy that time. And I found it really hard. There's been times in our relationship that he's worked later hours, and I didn't find I enjoyed cooking as much when he'd be walking in the door as I was serving the food. I was cooking on my own. So I definitely enjoy doing it around other people. But I do enjoy a good night off cooking. I think the hardest thing for me for cooking is actually deciding what we're going to eat. I hate it. I really, really hate deciding every night what we're going to eat. If someone else says, oh, let's have this for dinner, not a problem. I'll jump in the kitchen and start cooking. But when I have to actually decide what we're having every night, that's the hardest part for me. I do enjoy dining in, getting takeaway, because it means I don't have to cook that night. But I do enjoy cooking as well. Have I ever disliked something? Have you ever disliked something and then changed your mind? I'm sure I have. Oh, one thing I can think of, sashimi. So, back when I first started dating my husband, we used to go to this Japanese restaurant. I don't think it still exists anymore. Or if it does, it's not the same chef. And it took him probably the 4th or 5th visit of him going, just have some sashimi. Try it. When I first met him, I was meat and 3 veg, didn't like to explore much in my food. And I'm still a little bit like that. He actually banned me from having parmas when we went out for dinner because I'd always order a parma. He's like, nope, you have to order something else. But yeah, so he kept pushing and finally I tried it. I'm like, nope, don't like it. Next time, try it again. Okay, I'll try it again if it'll just make you be quiet so I can have my dinner. And I tried again. And it took about the 4th or 5th visit to actually try and start to actually enjoy it. No, they're not sticking on. So yeah, now I actually really enjoy it. To the point we had the in-laws around for dinner the other night because it was my father-in-law's 60th birthday. So I cooked him a meal. And we decided to give sashimi a go for ourselves and make it ourselves. And we did. We went to the fishmonger and we told them what we wanted to do. And he cut us some beautiful pieces of salmon and tuna. And we cut it up into sashimi and absolutely enjoyed having it. It was beautiful to eat. And yeah, so that's one thing I probably disliked to start with, and then yeah, after a lot of persuading from him, it's now one of my favorite foods. And I remember being pregnant, because you're not meant to have raw fish while you're pregnant. It was one of the things that I really craved. I just wanted some sashimi. I can't say it. Sashimi. So yeah, I suppose there is always things that I dislike and then turn around and like. What's my favourite board game? That would have to be Monopoly. I love Monopoly. It has very fond memories of me. I remember being a young child, one of 3, and Saturday or Sunday afternoon sitting down to play a game of Monopoly, and then mum remembering at dinner time, oh no, it's dinner time and I haven't started dinner because we've been distracted playing Monopoly. I love my Monopolies. I have multiple Monopoly games. I can't list them all. My latest one was a Big Bang one, and I absolutely love the little like tokens or pieces, whatever you want to call them. Absolutely love the couch. They have Sheldon's couch as one of the pieces. So the Big Bang, and I got a Christmas edition of Monopoly at Christmas time. So they're my 2 latest, and I have our 4-year-old son playing Monopoly. We have a junior Monopoly, which is really easy for him to play. It's meant to be 5 and up, but he understands it and can play it. So I get to play junior Monopoly, and it's sort of I can't wait until he gets older and he can understand how to play. He keeps asking to play, can we play Mummy's Monopoly? And I'm like, no, mate, you're a little bit young yet. but once you get older. So I'm really enjoying creating those kind of memories with him, that, you know, cold Saturday afternoon and stay indoors and play one of Mummy's many Monopoly games. So yeah, Monopoly definitely would have to be my favorite. Oh, I also got the Monopoly card deck, and that's really fun if you want to play Monopoly quickly. You can get, depending how you're going and how much fun you're having, you can definitely get multiple rounds in, depending how much time you have. So yeah, the Monopoly card game's really good fun too. We want some blue over here. How do you take your coffee? I don't drink coffee. I can't handle the taste of coffee. I don't like the smell of coffee. I don't like the taste of coffee. And people are sort of a little bit blown away when you have a child and you don't drink coffee. How do you get through your day? I just don't like coffee. I really, really don't like the taste of it. I don't like the smell of it. So no, I do drink chai latte, but it has to be certain ones. There's only, my favorite one is a packet from Woolworths, and it's their own brand. I don't particularly like the named brands, but I do like the Woolworths branded one. And before I got into chais, it was hot chocolate, and I still do enjoy a good hot chocolate. My favorite hot chocolate powder is Flavorista, which is a company similar to like Tupperware. They have reps and they have different powders and stuff, and I like just their plain one. They also do a caramel and a rocky road. They do a few different flavored chocolate powders. So yeah, but yeah, can't do coffee, can't do desserts with coffee in them. Yeah, just don't do coffee. What's my most prized possession and why? My most prized possession. Oh, I'd like to say all my like craft stuff. I love creating, so I love all my craft stuff. I'd be devastated if I lost my craft stuff, if something happened and I lost my craft stuff. I do have a few other possessions. When my grandmother moved out of Australia, well, not sort of out of Australia, she moved to Norfolk Island in her 60s on her, in her 80s on her own. Up and moved, sold her property and moved to Norfolk Island. She passed on some of the family history stuff, and I have a book of poetry. It's not the original book. It's been rewritten by someone down the track of my, now let me think. My grandmother, my I think it's like my great-great-great-great-grandfather. So it goes back 4 or 5 generations. His poetry was from I can't remember the dates now. But that's a pretty prized possession. That's one of my possessions I keep in my, it goes into my box over summertime when we have risk of fire. That's one of the things I don't want to leave without. So yeah, that would have to be one of my prized possessions. I also have a brooch, which I must double check to make sure that's in that box as well. And it was a relative's. I can't remember exactly who, but it is made out of insect wings. The picture is made out of insect wings. And I love that brooch. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm not a huge brooch wearer, but I love it, and it's one of the ones I like to wear when I'm going out somewhere special. So that would be my prized possessions. Is there any products I can't live without? Oh, products I can't live without. Probably my phone would have to be one of them. That's something that goes everywhere with me. Hang on 2 seconds. Sorry about that, I'm back now. Okay, so if you could have an exotic animal as a pet, which would it be? I reckon one of the big cats. I reckon that'd be kind of cool. That or a hippo. I don't know why a hippo. I think a hippo would be kind of cool as to have as a pet. You know, if you're going to have an exotic animal, why not have one that's going to kill you, hey? But yeah, I reckon one of the big cats. Maybe like a tiger or something. You know, just snuggle up in bed with your pet tiger. That's if it didn't want to eat you. Would you rather spend the day at the beach or at the poolside? I would prefer to spend the day at, I'd say the beach, even though I don't like sand. Not a public pool. Maybe a private pool, like a pool in your own home would be cool for the day. But I do enjoy going to the beach. It would be better if it didn't have sand. But I'm kind of scarred for life with sand. We got my son a sand pit. And ever since I've had sand in the house, there's no way to stop it. I got into bed the other day and my entire bed was covered in sand. All of it. All of it. So if hubby gets home from work, he goes into when he gets home, he goes into the bedroom and he gets changed out of his work clothes into, trackies or whatever, depending on the season. And our son loves to go in and jump on the bed and talk to his papa why his papa's getting changed. So I think what had happened that day is he'd been playing in the sand pit and I thought I'd brushed all the sand off him, and he's gone in and jumped in on our bed and he's covered in sand. It gets into everything. So I love the beach. I love sitting there listening to the waves. I quite enjoy swimming in the water, but I'm not a big fan of sand. So it's a 50-50. Wouldn't be a public pool, but a private pool. Yeah, I could sit there, especially if I had some good company. Sit there and relax for the day with some friends. Yeah, I could spend the day by the poolside as well. What's my favourite thing about my current job? Well, like I said, I'm a stay-at-home mum. And probably my favourite thing about being a stay-at-home mum, definitely not the cleaning up. But I love watching my son grow. I love watching him solve problems. I want to build a fort. Okay, well, how are you going to build a fort? Oh, well, we need walls here and we need something for the top. And I really enjoy watching him grow as a little human, from being a baby that couldn't do anything for himself to being an energetic 4.5-year-old. And he's energetic. He does not stop. He doesn't stop until he's asleep at night. So yeah, but I do love watching him grow, and some of the things he comes out with, I'm like, oh, how do you even think of it? So we live in a very hilly area. Most of the time there's only footpaths on one side of the road. Quite often there's not footpaths at all. And he loves riding his bike. But being a 4-year-old, he's still got his training wheels, or as he likes to call them, his stabilizers. And he's not very good at going up hills. Mummy, push me. I can't go up this hill. It's too big for me. And that's okay if it's an occasionally, but when it's like the entire street and he's not actually riding his bike and you're just spending the entire time pushing him up a hill, it's not so much fun. So I didn't grow up in this area. I've only been in New South Wales a couple of years, so still trying to, find areas, and bike riding is quite new to him. So trying to find an area that he can ride. And we found a couple, but they're quite hilly. Anyway, so I was looking on the map and I'm like, okay, well, these couple of streets here, I reckon we could zigzag up and down the streets. We could go up, there was 2 roads that run parallel with side streets between them. So I thought, that's all right. We can go one end and then go up the next street and then up the next street and backwards and forwards like that. And I'm like, okay, mate, we're going to try this new area. Hopefully it's got no hills, because the day before when we'd gone out, I thought I'd found a good spot until we got halfway through our walk and we're at the top of a hill and we had to go down the hill and there was no footpaths and we were on the road, and a 4-year-old on a bike's pretty little and it just wasn't fun. So, and he goes to me, Mummy, do you know what we should do? We should drive the area first and then we'll know if there's no side streets. I'm like, that is a really smart idea. And no footpaths. And luckily we did drive the streets, because all those middle streets I thought we could zigzag up and back between had no footpaths at all. So he would have had to be riding on the road, which is okay, but it's much more enjoyable for him to be riding on the footpath because he's good at checking driveways, and I let him go ahead of me. Where on the road, I want to make sure he's right near me, and I can only walk so fast. I'm short. I have little legs. I can only walk so fast. But I couldn't believe that his little brain had come up with this solution of checking it. In the end, we ended up doing like a big square loop of these streets, and it wasn't too bad, but kind of wasn't long enough for him. He kind of needed to be out for a bit longer to actually burn off some energy. So we've attempted it a couple more times, but then we finally found a track that runs alongside some mangroves, which is great. There's no cars. It doesn't cross any roads. And he's just got to watch out for other cyclists. But, we're teaching him he's got to stay the left side of the white line, and he knows that if someone comes up behind and rings a bell, just to be careful. So yeah, I'm kind of glad I found that, but it does mean I have to get in the car and drive, which I didn't really want to do. It's not far, it's about 15 minutes away, but the problem with that is once he's done the whole path and then he gets back in the car to come home, he falls asleep. And he doesn't have day naps anymore. But he's always been really good at sleeping in the car. So he falls asleep. And even if he only has 5 minutes, that keeps him up for like 2-3 hours longer at night. So I try and keep him going during the day now, and then he has a really good night's sleep. Because, yeah, if he has a nap, it keeps him going. And normally after a big ride, and that's why I kind of don't like taking him in the car in the afternoon, because he'll just fall asleep. And then, yeah, it keeps him up at night, and then it throws out the whole sort of bedtime routine that we have. Okay. What annoys you most? Annoys me most? I don't know. At the moment, it would have to be all the videos I'm seeing of people in Victoria refusing to wear masks. I just think it's really, really, really selfish. It's really selfish, and they're all, they just, I don't know why I keep watching the videos, because they just make me angry. I mean, we're lucky in New South Wales at the moment. We don't, by law, have to wear a mask. It's up to the individual if they'd like to wear a mask. And I can understand that it would be frustrating and that it's uncomfortable and it's not, you know, the nicest thing to be wearing all day. But you're not meant to be out all day. You're meant to be going for a walk and coming home, or you're meant to be going to the shops and coming home. So, yeah, that's probably the thing that's annoying me the most. And just people that think they're high and mighty and above everyone else, and they don't, you know, why should I wear a mask? Well, it's not about you. It's about everyone else around you and protecting people around you. So, yeah, that would be the thing that is annoying me the most at the moment. Okay, let's do another couple of questions and then we might wrap it up, because hubby came in before to let me know that my father-in-law is on his way here. He won't be far off. He's dropping some meat off. He likes the way that we marinate meat for a barbecue for the weekend. Which I know that sounds silly because this will go up on Monday, but when I recorded this, it was coming into the weekend. So he's dropping some meat off so we can marinate it for his birthday. So I really need to be off before he gets here. But are you more of a work to live or live to work type of person? I would say I don't. I've been in this position before where I was working full time. I was also doing Avon on the side, which was taking up all my free time. And my husband was doing shift work at that point. And I was doing really, really well with my Avon. You know, I had a really good little area that I was servicing and some really happy customers, and I was enjoying it. But between that I was doing on all my time off, because, you know, you'd have to go and drop brochures. It wasn't quite, you know, all online, which it probably all is now. This was quite a few years ago that I did this. You'd have to drop brochures in your certain area. So you'd be allocated an area. Then you'd have to pick the brochures up and place all the orders, and it was time consuming. And even though I was doing really well, I didn't get any time with my family. I didn't get any time with my husband, because I couldn't go and do it at midnight or whatever. I had to do it and knock on doors at certain times in the day that, you know, people don't want someone knocking on their door at 8 p.m. at night. So, yeah, I was spending all my time doing that, and I was making all right money, and I was doing really well. I'd gotten a few awards, but I didn't have time to see my family. And for me, it was more important to see my family and spend time with my family than work. And that's sort of the same reason why I'm a stay-at-home mum. I've been fortunate enough that my husband has earned an income where I have been able to stay at home, and we weren't put in a position. I also have amazing in-laws who we live in a property of theirs, so it makes rent a little bit easier. And that I haven't had to go back to work. It would be nice if I found some work. The extra money would be beneficial. But in saying that, we've been able to survive. We're not thriving, but we've been able to survive. And for me, it's more important that I've been able to spend time with my son, and that, you know, I get to see him. And everybody is different. I've got friends that had to go back to work, and they didn't have to go back to work financially. They needed to go back to work for their own sanity. And I can see that, you know, some people are different. Everyone's different. And if that works for their family, good on them. Thumbs up. If you can work that for your family, and it works out for your family and everyone is happier for it, You know, I'm not criticizing everyone. I actually look at working families and go, how do you do it? How do you stay sane and both work full time and look after a child at the same time? But for me, I've been fortunate enough to be able to stay home, and I've enjoyed staying home. In saying that, there's been some times that are really tough, but I think if you're a crafter, you always have something on the go. So you always have something to fill that time that you need to fill, or to do for yourself. Be it 10 minutes a day, be it, you know, you can sit down for a couple of hours at night and do it. So crafting has definitely kept my sanity. But yeah, so that's what my sort of views are. And like I said, everyone's has their own opinions, and every family is different. Some families need to go back to work to be able to support them. Others need it for their mental health, and that's fine. I know my sister went back for her mental health. She's a teacher, and she went back to work because she needed it for herself. And yeah, everyone's different. It'll just, and I mean, we're living in such a different world at the moment with everything going on with COVID, and it's just such a different place. But anyway, what do I remember most about my first job? So I started my first job. I did work experience there, and then I started working there, and it was actually for Spotlight. So it's probably what helped my crafting addiction. And I worked for Spotlight. I worked there from year 10. I did weekends and school holidays. And then when I finished school, I worked full time at the store. So I worked for Spotlight for, I want to say, around 5 years. What do I remember most? The people. I worked in a store that had the most amazing team. I was one of the youngest staff members to the team, and yeah, we had an amazing team. We would, you know, obviously once I was 18, we would go out on the weekends. We'd have functions together. We'd have like 3 or 4 Christmas parties every year, so that we could make sure absolutely everyone in the store managed to attend at least one of them. And yeah, I just had amazing staff members that we were really close. We relocated stores. Would have been just as I came out of high school. And I remember we had a much bigger lunchroom then. And we used to get to work like, I don't know, I want to say half an hour before work, before our shifts actually started, and we'd all make our breakfast, have our cereal and toast, and we'd sit around together and we'd have breakfast together. So it was a real social store, and I love that. I loved it about it. It really, yeah, I had some very, very fond memories of working for the company, and it wasn't necessarily the company that I have the fond memories of. It was definitely the staff members that I worked with. My boss was an older gay man, and he was brilliant. He was so funny and so loving and so nurturing, and yeah, absolutely loved working with him. And I just had really good managers and staff members, and we had a lot of fun. We'd do for, I want to think it's City Mission, I think it's called, charity days, where you have your winter sleep outs, where people go and sleep outside in cardboard boxes for the night to kind of get some sort of idea what it was like for homeless people. But we'd have a pajama day at work, so we'd all come to work in our pajamas. Obviously not anything too raunchy, we were all covered appropriately, but we'd come to work in our pajamas for the day. And yeah, so we do a lot of dress ups. We dress up for Halloween and Christmas, and yeah, we just had a lot of fun. So did I start working immediately after finishing school? Why or why not? Well, that last question probably answered it. I'll answer this, and I think my doorbell's going off, so I'm going to have to go after that. I started work in year 10, and I continued working right through. So yes, I was working straight after. I didn't go to university or TAFE. I continued working, so I worked full-time up until I had my son. So thank you very much for listening to me ramble today. If you've got any questions or would like to know anything about me, please pop a comment, pop it in the comments down below. And I look forward to coming back and having a chat with you all soon. So yeah, we've got a fair bit. We've done all the feathers. We've just got, I might lift you up a little bit. We've just got this half to go. So thank you very much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching today, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.